Hello students, now we are going to discuss a poem from your third unit titled Another Woman. Okay, so let us begin with the same. This unit deals with the kind of human relations, and under this we are going to learn about a poem titled as Another Woman. So before entering into the poem, let us first have a brief introduction about the poet. Okay, so the poet who have written this poem is Imtiaz Dharkar. Okay, she was born in Pakistan and she was brought up in Glasgow, Scotland. Okay, she was born in Pakistan, brought up in Glasgow, Scotland. She is ranked at par with some of the Indian poets like Kamala Das, Sujata Bhatt and Tara Patel. Okay, she is not only a poet but also a painter, as well as also accomplished with documentary filmmaking. She is not only a poet but as she is also a painter as well as accomplished as a documentary filmmaker. So let us see few works, literary works by her. Her poetry collections include Parda, then we have The Terrorist at My Table, I Speak for Devil, Postcards from God, and finally Leaving Fingerprints. So this is the introduction about the author. Let's revise again. Imtiaz Dharkar was born in Pakistan, brought up in Glasgow, Scotland. She is ranked at par with few of the Indian poets like Kamala Das, Sujata Bhatt and Tara Patel. She is also a painter and accomplished with documentary filmmaking, and her poetry collections include Parda, I Speak for Devil, Postcards from God, The Terrorist at My Table and Leaving Fingerprints. So now let us enter into this poem, Another Woman. What is this poem all about? This poem reflects the domestic violence which takes place in today's Indian society on women. Okay, so let us empathize with the social evils what women are facing in our society today. Let us proceed with the same. Let us proceed with the understanding of the poem. So the lines of the poem goes like this. This morning she brought green methi in the market, choosing the freshest bunch. Picked up a white radish. Imagined the crunch it would make. This morning she bought green methi in the market, choosing the freshest bunch. Picked up a white radish. Imagined the crunch it would make. So here the poet introduces her first character, that is the woman. She is talking about a woman who has been to market to buy few vegetables. So here the woman out of all vegetables chooses methi. Now what is methi in this poem? It is a kind of leafy vegetables generally found in India. In the market, choosing the freshest bunch. So when she is selecting the vegetable or the bunch of methi, she wants the freshest bunch out of all. So this line shows us the caring aspect of the woman for her family, her dedication for her family. Picked up a white radish. Radish is also a kind of vegetable which is in the finger form of shape. Imagine the crunch it would make. So seeing the fresh radish, the lady is imagining the crunch, the freshness of the radish is being described in the fourth line of the poem. Okay, let us proceed with the next few lines. Between her teeth, the sweet, sharp taste. Between her teeth, the sweet, sharp taste. Then put it aside, thinking that an extravagance counted her coins counted her coins out carefully, tied them a small bundle into her sari at the waist. So now let us proceed with this stanza. which speaks that between her teeth the sweet sharp taste. It is obviously the continuation of this line. Picked up white radish, imagine the crunch it would make between her teeth, the sweet sharp taste. Then put it aside. Here it refers to radish. Thinking it or thinking that. So why did she grab the radish, imagine something, and then she has put it aside? What was the major reason behind it? And extravagance. What is the meaning extravagant? Okay, so here extravagant means something which cost extra, which duly is not required at that point of time. Okay, something which is extra for that particular point of time. So she thought that radish is extravagance. Counted her coins. Then she took out few coins, tied them, a small bundle. So whatever coins she had, like whatever money she has to give it to the vendor, she gave. And whatever rest was remaining with her, she tied a bundle and she has put into her sari at the waist. Maybe you have seen generally in the rural areas, women carry a kind of pocket made up of small cloth and they hang it to their waist. So this is how the same thing was done by this woman character whom the poet is introducing in the poem. Let us proceed with the next lines of the poem. Came home, faced her mother-in-law. Came home, faced her mother-in-law. Dark looks, took the leaves and chopped them. Her hands stained yellow. Her hands stained yellow from the juice. Let us discuss this stanza now. Came home, faced her mother-in-law. So here the poet wants to say that the woman has completed her buying of vegetables from the market and she has returned to her home, and at her home the one who is waiting and staring at her is or was her mother-in-law. Mother-in-law here refers to husband's mother. Dark looks. So here dark looks are, the poet is using this phrase of dark looks to explain her mother-in-law's attitude, anguish attitude, angry attitude, that she is probably late to home. Okay, so this is been described here. The leaves, took the leaves and chopped them. Immediately as the lady have reached home, the woman reached home, she did not go for taking rest, but rather she has taken out the bunch of leaves, methi leaves, which she has chopped, and then she started chopping them. Her hands stained yellow from this juice. So while she was chopping, due to the juice which was extracted by those methi leaves, her hands turned yellow in color. Okay, let us proceed with the next stanza. I hope you are comfortable with these three stanzas till now. Cut an onion, fire and cooked the whole thing in the pot, on the stove or over the stove, shielding her face from the heat. So in this fourth stanza, we are seeing that the poet conveys that after chopping methi, lady has grabbed onion and she also chopped the onion. Then she has put a pot over the stove and she has lighted the fire, and then she has put the methi and onion in that pot and she was stirring it. So children, here stove indicates the firewood probably, which earlier the women used to use for cooking. It emits lot of smoke, as you all know, and it's really difficult to cook over that kind of stove. Shielding her face from the heat. So while she is cooking on the stove, she feels lot of heat coming out from that pot as well as stove. So she is trying to cover her face using her sari, dripping her sari over her nose. She is trying to cover her face from the heat which is coming out from that pot or stove. Let us proceed to the next lines of the poem. The usual words come and beat their wings against her. The usual words come and beat their wings against her. Okay. So here author says that when she was doing all this job, her routine cooking work, so the usual words which her mother-in-law has to speak, those were continued. Now what mother-in-law was scolding her in turn? What were the words used by mother-in-law towards her? Let us see them in the next lines of this poem. The money spent, curses upon her parents who had sent her out to darken the doors What were the words used generally by her mother-in-law to scold her were the money spent by them usually on her for her basic needs. The curses are heaped upon her parents. The mother-in-law is cursing that woman's parents, saying that those were the parents, you are unlucky, so they have sent you to us to darken our doors, other people's door. So you are a kind of curse who have come to her home. These are the literal words used by her mother-in-law towards her. Let us see the prolonging part of the poem. She crouched as usual on the floor beside the stove when the man came home. When the man came home, she did not look into his face nor raise her head, but bent a little back, a little more. So here, what the poet wants to convey now through this stanza is, after her mother-in-law started shouting on her, so these are the words used by her mother-in-law towards women. These are the words spoken by her towards women. And now in the next stanza, the poet says that she crouched as usual on the floor beside the stove. So here crouching means sleeping or lying down with her hands and legs close together. It is a position, maybe, sitting with her hands and legs close to her body. When the man come home, so here the man is referred to woman's husband or the mother-in-law's son. She did not look into his face. So when her husband returns back from work, she doesn't directly look into his face nor raises her head in front of him. This is what used to happen in our earlier India. Okay, but bent a little back more. Okay, so she bent her back a little more. Rather than standing her head upright with pride, she has to stand as if she has done some crime before her husband when he returns home after his work. Let us see what the poet conveys in the next few lines of the poem. Nothing gave her the right to speak. Nothing gave her the right to speak. This indicates that she was not supposed to speak anything with her husband in presence of her mother-in-law, nor she was allowed to complain anything, or if she was uncomfortable of something, she was not allowed to tell anything about that. So she did not have right to speak with her husband nor with her mother-in-law. Next, she watched the flame hiss up and beat against the cheap old pot. A wing of brightness against its blackened cheek. She watched the flame hiss up, a beat against the cheap old pot, a wing of brightness against its blackened cheek. So here the author wants to convey that she is continuously monitoring all the household work, okay, but still she is always seen as the unusual member of the family. She is not being given due importance. Okay, a beat against the cheap old pot. The way the old pots are being thrown away in the corner, she is also treated in the same manner. A wing of brightness. Okay, so here she actually should be treated in a very beautiful manner, in a very perfect manner. But here she is considered as some unusual the family. That is what the author would like to convey through this paragraph. Let us see the next message, what poet would like to describe it to us. This was the house she had been sent to, the man she had been bound to, and the future she had been onto. So the poet describes that this is the life which she has to struggle with. This is the house where she doesn't get any respect her parents have sent her. And this is the man who don't care for her. He treats her like an unusual part of the house. And the future she has been born into. Now she doesn't have any scope rather than leaving everything, the likings, her interest, leaving everything apart, her self-respect, and just behaving or living as a slave in that house. Okay, so these are the lines which convey this message. Next. So when the kerosene was thrown, just a moment of surprise, a brilliant spark, a moment of surprise and a brilliant spark. It was the only choice she ever knew, that she had ever known. So when the kerosene was thrown, so when the woman was about to talk for her rights, when the woman raised her voice to the inconvenience, to the ill treatment she was facing in the house, she was thrown the kerosene upon her, okay, by her husband. And just a moment that she could understand what is actually going on, there was a bright spark over her body. Okay, so this is the only choice she had, and she understood that it's better to leave this place rather than facing the daily torture or the domestic violence by various people around her. Let us see how the author concludes this poem. Another torch blazing in the dark, another woman, we shield our faces from. So here the poet says that okay, once this woman is gone for lifetime from this beautiful place, from the earth, only and only due to the mistreatment or the ill treatment of her in-laws towards her, there is no effect on them. Today she has lost her life. At the same time, there would be some other woman who would be coming to replace her place in this house, and again there would be another woman definitely who would be shielding her face with the cloth against the heat. But ultimately, women are unaware, most of the women are unaware of the fact that this heat will definitely take them somewhere all away from this earth. So this is the situation of most of the families. So dear children, you need to be educated. You need to face such wrong evils which are happening in our country boldly, and you have to stop them happening from ever in our nation. And if you find any, you really have the right to counsel particular person and see to it that such thing never continues in the area or in your ambience. Okay? Hoping that you would really create better India further. Thank you one and all. I hope you have understood the poem well.